Welcome everybody to Clearwater Jazz Holiday Foundation's Young Lions Jazz Master Virtual Sessions. Today's educators and guest musicians are Michelle Mailhot and Per Danielsson together. Hello guys, how are you?
We're great, thanks.
Their topic today, piano and vocals, a common duo. Participants are muted on entry to these sessions, but if you have questions, please use the chat feature and we will get those questions to Per and to Michelle. Thank you for all your feedback at info@clearwaterjazz.com, and thank you for taking advantage of these recorded sessions and audio sessions in our studio, which you can access through clearwaterjazz.com's education and outreach page. After these live sessions, everything is archived by instrument, and we are so excited about this growing resource and family of musicians making it special. Per and Michelle have been regular participants helping to grow this wonderful treasure. Michelle has done 3 sessions already. When you can find those sessions in the studio, Building Blocks to Scat Singing, a basic approach to learning a jazz standard from a singer's perspective, Guide Tones and the Blues, Singing Beyond the Blues Scale. And Per also has a trio of series under his belt: Jazz Piano Harmonization, Jazz Piano Improvisation, Jazz Piano Combo and Big Band. And now they merge forces together today for their topic, piano and vocals, a common duo. Let me tell you a little bit about Michelle and about Per and turn it over to them for today's session. Michelle has been singing her entire life and professionally for the last 25 years, sharing the stage with jazz greats like Mel Torme, Max Roach, Sheila Jordan, and Liza Minnelli, to name just a few. She is also known for a string of solo credits, including the sold-out cabaret show, a tribute to Johnny Mercer at the Mad Cow Theater in Orlando, and her lively, jazzy CD, Happy Madness, and regular performances at Walt Disney World and supper clubs, cabarets, festivals around the country and around the world. Locally, she has sung for the Orlando Philharmonic Orchestra and is currently the featured vocalist with the Dr. Phillips Center Jazz Orchestra. In addition to performing, she has had over 20 years of teaching experience throughout her career. She serves on the faculty of both Rollins and Valencia colleges in Central Florida as an applied voice instructor, as well as director of various jazz ensembles. She also has a ton of experience with camps and workshops, competition adjudication, and virtual sessions. Per has been a wonderful participant in our Young Lions Jazz Master sessions dating back to 2016, when we do the traditional festival format and in-school appearances. He's a jazz pianist, composer, arranger, writer, and educator, associate professor of jazz piano and composition at the University of Central Florida. Per Danielsson is a native of Stockholm, Sweden. After formal piano studies in Sweden, his love of jazz brought him across the ocean to attend the internationally acclaimed North Texas State University. He is an active performer, appearing often as a guest artist, soloist, clinician, and sideman. His career has included performances with many leading jazz artists and entertainers. His most current CD release is his trio recording, Time Will Tell, featuring Richard Drexler and Marty Morell. He can be heard on Chuck Owen and the Jazz Surge's latest CD, Whispers on the Wind, which received 4 Grammy nominations. Per completed his master's degree in jazz studies, composition, and arranging at the University of South Florida in Tampa. He now holds the position of associate professor of jazz piano at UCF in Orlando. In addition, Per is active in jazz education outreach. He is currently artistic director of the American Jazz Pianist Competition. He also has served on the presidential advisory board of the Jazz Education Network. And together today is Michelle Mailhot and Per Danielsson. Welcome back to both of you. The stage is all yours.
All right, thanks. I think we'll start with a tune.
All right.
Now Well, thanks everybody. Welcome. I am Michelle Mailhot. This is Per Danielsson, as you know. And I think we were going to talk about a lot of fun things today about singing and about playing the piano. We're going to talk about endings. We're going to talk about intros. We're going to talk about getting the joke and making the hang, which is a big deal for me. I've been over here for a little while now drinking coffee and shooting the breeze with Per because maybe the hang is important as a piano and voice duo. But first things first, let's take the ending that we just did to Night and Day. And what I chose to do at the end of it was, and you saw Per, hopefully you saw Per looking at me going, what note is she going to end the song on? And I chose to end on the fifth. Night and day. All right, so you want the floor for a second, just kind of talk about what choice you made?
Sure. I know where the fifth, where that fits within the chord, and I know what I can do with that note to come up with an ending. And for example, the vamp I did, we call that a Killer Joe vamp, and it kind of works out because that fifth is on the top there. If I want to do a more elaborate ending and on just the very last chord, if Michelle hits that note, I might do something like this. Just hit that.
Same fifth again?
Yeah.
Night and day.
So all the chords that I was building was all around this one note. If she would have picked another note, which we can probably demonstrate, and then that gives me different options to do.
What would you like me to do, Per?
Pick the tonic.
Okay.
So we go from here.
Don't be true, the thing that I miss and my life make it love to you day and night, night and day.
And I had a pretty good idea that she was going to move from that tonic to the major seven. So I was kind of like anticipating that. But the tonic is great. When a singer ends on the tonic note or the chord tone note, the one, it gives me such an opportunity to mess around with it because there's so many chords I can come up with that is built around that one note. But it all comes down to me listening what she's going to do because that's my job as an accompanist.
Did you have like two more choices on that?
We did third. Third. So now we got to do something that's called the Quincy Jones ending.
Torment won't be through till in this and my life making love to you day and night, night and day. That's pretty.
So if I know that she's going to enter that third and I know that she's going to stay there, I can hit that chord, which is completely different than what you expect. And what it is, instead of hitting instead of playing, I should say, instead of playing the C major 7, I played the A major 7 because she ended on an E, and the E is the third of the C major chord, but it's the fifth on the A major chord, and it works perfect. And that actually came up with the Quincy Jones, had a couple of hits back in the 80s, I think, with James Ingram, wasn't it?
Okay, yes.
And that's kind of what that comes from, became famous as the Quincy Jones ending.
What if I did the sharp 4 and you were like skank, gang, gang, gang?
Oh, okay.
I can try to do that one. And it's sure it won't be through till you let me spend my life.
So that was a sharp 4 or sharp 11. And then I also know that if you hit that note, I'm a little bit more restricted on what I can do, because I wouldn't start to mess around with that note. I basically just play that C major 7, sharp 11 out, and that's a common ending rhythm that you do when you accompany a singer. And again, that's my job to follow Michelle, not the other way around.
Mhm.
Not when it comes to these things.
Okay, so what did you do in the beginning of this tune?
Oh, okay, so introductions, that's important. What I did, we call a pedal intro. So the key, the tune is in the key of C, and I did a G pedal. So if somebody tells you, okay, do pedal intro, if the tune is in C, you do a G in the bottom. So what I do, I play a G, but with a C major over it. And then I go to another chord, which is G7 sus flat 9. But you know what? That is not that important.
You can do whatever you want in that right hand. Right? Night and day.
Yeah, except I started in the wrong place of the tune. But yeah, so that's what we call a pedal intro, and probably the easiest version of that, less complicated, is that you play C major over G, and then you go to a G sus or a G7. So you play the 5th of the key in the bass, the 1 chord, which is C major,
the last 4 bars or the last 8 bars typically?
Last 8 bars would work great.
Okay. I knew exactly where both of those things were. As a singer, what do I love about Pear as a piano player? I love that he makes eye contact with me, and maybe because we know each other, but singers that you don't know,
yeah.
I think it's an important job is to make eye contact with us, and vice versa. How many singers have I seen that sort of just stand in front of you and give the count off and never look at you? And I think that that's a disservice to the music that we're making. After I sang all the lyrics and I sang the head through, we never talked about what were we going to do, right?
Yeah.
And so we sort of ended up trading 8s, kind of.
Yeah. And that was kind of on we met earlier and
the coffee got in the way.
The coffee got in the way. We're going to talk through exactly. We had paper and pen.
We did.
But then nothing got written down. And then we say, you know what? Let's just treat this session kind of how we would do a gig. And just, and this is like we just show up, and of course we happen to know each other, worked together before, but this could also be with somebody that you don't know and show kind of how that's working, and we can demonstrate that in another tune here as well.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. We can switch tunes, absolutely. We covered some intros, some endings. That was great. Another song that we want to do for you today is lyrics by Johnny Mercer. And this one is I Thought About You. That seems like a good one to go to.
So, okay, so I thought about you. So how are we going to do it?
I don't know.
Anybody has any suggestions? So let's do this. I'm going to tell you, okay, let me do a 1-6-2-5 intro, because I already covered the pedal, which the pedal intro works on almost any song, but of course you don't want to do it on every song, and everything starts to sound the same. So I'm going to do an intro. First of all, what key are we going to do it in?
B flat. 2
flats. We're going to play this song in B flat, and this is one of these jazz standards that I played in all kind of different keys. So So what I'm gonna do an intro based on B flat major, G minor, C minor, F, and then back. That's what we call a 1-6-2-5 intro. So we decided that. And then why don't you want to scatter chorus?
Sure, I'll scatter chorus.
Okay. So the tune intro, you sing the tune, scatter chorus, and then why don't I take half a chorus?
Okay.
And then you come in on the second half.
Sure.
All right. Well, now we gotta have an ending on this tune as well. So what are we gonna do on the ending?
What did I do?
Should we just do
Let's do a 3-time ending.
3-time ending?
Let's keep it simple this first time.
Or do you want to repeat this one?
We'll pick one now and then we'll do the other one.
Okay.
So I would say let's do a 3-time ending this time, and then we'll
Okay.
go through a couple more choices
Okay.
to show them. There's a lot of possibilities, and it's important. And attached to our session today, I have a couple of sheets that I've attached to kind of review a lot of these intros and endings, so you as a singer can learn the language and learn how to speak to a piano player. A lot of times I will get asked, what do you want for an intro? And often on this song, I'll do exactly what you said. Hey, why don't we do a 1-6-2-5 intro. Yeah. So let's try that.
And 3 times, just tag it 3 times.
What did I do? What did I do? What did I do?
Oh,
And then we'll see. Oh, then you could go to your 5-5. Actually.
I think I know what you're saying, but we'll find out when we get there. Okay,
That's good.
Is that good?
Yep. I took a trip on a train and I thought about you. I passed a shadowy lane and I thought about you. 2 or 3 cars parked under the stars, a winding stream. Moon shining down on some little town, and with each beat, the same old dream. And every stop that we made, oh, I thought about you. But when I pulled down the shade, I really felt blue. I peeked through the crack and looked at the track of one going back to you. And what did I do? I thought about you.
endings. If any, I don't know if you know what this is. I did a version of that, and that is what we call the Count Basie ending. So that kind of worked fine because I kind of knew that she was going to end on that one note there.
I thought about you. And that could have been it.
Yeah, we could have ended it right there. We didn't really have, I played this side to play the last chord. And what I did then, I had to make sure that I listened to, okay, what kind of note is she going to hit there? And then we went through the same process as we talked about earlier. But that's a kind of a good display on, we just met, we haven't really rehearsed, but we know these kind of unwritten rules and intros and endings, and that's hopefully that explained a little bit how we can put it together fairly quickly.
Do you want to try that flat 5 one?
Yeah.
Okay.
As an ending?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll just do one. What did I do?
So that's called a flat 5 ending, and that we do actually with not just with singers. So sometimes somebody turns over, we're about to the end of the song, and somebody goes, "Do a flat 5 ending." Then I know I'm playing this F chord, which is the 5 chord, but I'm gonna go chromatic down from the E, which is flat 5. So that's the flat 5 ending.
Mm-hmm. One of the things I love to do on this tune is, and I'll sometimes when we're at PLRs or wherever we do the gigs, I'll give you one of these, okay? So I like to do, what did I do? And then I go up a half step, okay? So let's try 1, 2, 3. Oh, what did I do? I said, what did I do? Oh, what did I do? I thought about you.
Now that was another ending again.
But that was a twofer. We did 2 endings. So
Yeah,
I don't
exactly.
know what we call the half step up. I just point my finger with smart piano players, and they usually know what I'm doing.
Yeah, if the singer points up like that, I know that up a half step, because we rarely take it up a whole step on that ending. That's a half step. And instead of doing then, well, I just played C minor 7, F7. C sharp minor 7, F sharp, and then back down, C minor, F to 1.
And then what'd you do?
And then I did this.
What's that called?
And that, well, it has different names, but it's basically Duke Ellington ending, because that's how Take the A Train ended. That's the standard end. When you play Take the A Train, 99.99% of the times you will play that ending. So that's the Ellington ending, or A Train ending, you can also call it.
Yeah, so this one guy from a website called Learn Jazz Standards, he did that, and then he very specifically ends on a sharp 9 chord after that.
Oh, okay. Let's do that.
Okay.
So 2-5, up a half step.
Okay.
Ellington ending with a sharp 9 chord.
Okay. Oh, what did I do? Right? There's a hipness factor to that too. That's fun.
That if for some reason she would have ended on a 3rd, that chord doesn't work.
Yeah.
So that again, that's my job as a company, is to listen to, okay, again, what's going to be the last chord there. But you ended on the 5th or the tonic.
I think all that was tonic.
Yeah, on the tonic, and then that's going to work great.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? That's the thing. I always love to be the sideman. I have no problem with that at all. I don't need to be the leader. And I always like to work together with a vocalist. It's definitely a factor of back and forth that we create the music, but I create the foundation. In the bottom, I am the accompanist. So I'm the one that gonna kind of have to listen.
Yeah, but I feel like there's also all I can do on a lot of these endings is peg the last note, and that opens up a lot of creativity for you. So you do have choices to make, and you make them. You do.
Yeah. And hopefully most of the times it works.
Most of the time it works. I was thinking about there's the ritardando. There's just sort of the slowing down of a tune. I don't think it would work on it. I thought about you, but it would work on Night and Day.
Oh yeah.
Don't you think? That's kind of how I typically will do Night and Day on a gig.
So play it retard and not do a tag or anything.
Oftentimes,
just at the end of the tune.
a lot of times the players will do a vamp.
Yeah.
And then I'll have to just night and
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Let's just
Wanna
show
do
it.
it?
Yeah, let's go back to C.
Right here.
Yeah. Shall we do it?
Yeah. We can just do from the
Spend my life love you. Day and night and day. Killing Joe. Night and day, night and day. Oh, night and day. Yeah.
So that was a good example. I actually played the last chord right when she hit the last note, and I should have waited because I played, she sang the sharp 11, and I should have caught that. So if I would have given myself a little bit more time. But that again, I mean, Michelle was conducting it here, but in a way, she didn't even have to conduct it because she sang it so clearly.
Okay.
But of course, conducting helps. Then I know that something's coming up. We're gonna do, some kind of.
Oftentimes I teach my students, because a lot of times you all are behind us.
Yeah.
You still see me, yeah. And so I'm not gonna turn around.
Right.
So oftentimes I'll say, hey, a couple of bars before you want that retard, kind of be like, hey, night and day, or whatever,
Yeah.
right?
Now that would be totally clear. That would be totally clear.
They both work, yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Endings. One thing that we did in I Thought About You is that, and this is a piano player thing, I played in 2 from the beginning. Don't feel that you always have to run a bass line and everything has to kind of be driving right from the beginning. You don't have to do this all the time. You don't have to go into that. You can be much more relaxed.
So a 4 feel would be 4 quarter notes on the floor all the time. And the 2 feel is like half.
Ba-dum, 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 ba-dum. That's the 2 feel. When I go into 4, and what I actually did now, I created a 4 feel with a bass line. And that's probably how most people play that when in a duo situation. But I actually kind of like to do the 4 feel even with chord and almost like a semi kind of stride thing, stride style. So there will be.
So let me sing a little bit with
Yeah.
And you can either, maybe toggle between the 2-feel and the 4-feel, and then our students can, put up their hands and say, that's a 2-feel, I can hear it, or that's a 4-feel. So I'm looking at you students, so you ready for this? I guess we'll definitely start with the 2-feel.
And if you get it right, you win a prize.
Yep, I have my sticker collection, my Lisa Frank sticker. All right, we'll start with 2.
2, okay.
Well,
right on.
3, 4. I took a trip on a train and I thought about you. I passed a shadowy lane and I thought about you. 2 or 3 cars parked under the stars, a winding street. Moon shining down on some little town, and living each dream the same old dream, and never stop that with me. Oh, I thought about you, but when I roll down the shade, I really feel blue. I've been through the track, looked at the track, and one going back to you. What did I do? Oh, what did I do? Oh, here, I thought about you. And I was really sad about it, apparently.
I ended it on a sad note. I played a G minor instead of B flat major 7, and I could do that because I know what note she was hitting. So there I went between 2 and 4. Now let's do one more time. I'm gonna showcase how I'm gonna keep it mainly in 4, but without the bass line. So I'm going to do that first, the first half of the tune. The second half of the tune, I'm going to be a little bit more experimental what I'm doing with the chords and see if you can hear the difference.
Okay. 1,
2, 3, 4.
I took a trip on a train and I thought about you. I passed a shadowy lane and I thought about you. 2 or 3 cars parked under the stars, a winding street. Moon shining down on some town, and with each dream the same old dream, and every star that we made. Oh, I thought about you. And I rolled down the shade, and I felt blue. Breathe through the crack and look at the track, the one going back to you. What did I do? I thought about you. Oh, what did I do? I thought about you. Fun. That's a challenging choice for a singer too. Like that was.
Yeah, so when I start to mess around with a time like that, I can do that with Michelle because we work together, and I know that when I start to do that, you most likely will sing the melody fairly straight.
Right, I tried to stick to it, yes.
And that is somebody gonna kind of hold on to it. A little quick story. When I worked at Disney many years ago, there was a bass player, George Morrow. He was playing in one of the show band, and George had played. He was with Clifford Brown and Sonny Rollins back in the day. Wonderful bass player. And I talked to him about, anytime I saw him in the cafeteria, I used to talk to him. So I asked him, when you started to take it out time-wise like that. And he said that somebody always gonna have to stay home with the baby. Somebody gotta make sure that everything is cool with the baby. So if I start to do that, Michelle's going to sing straight, and the other way around.
Yes.
If she started to be more experimental, I make sure I'm going to lay it down so nothing get confused.
That's great. So let's see, I would do one more tune, but I want to switch it up a little bit.
Yeah.
I want to maybe do Fly Me to the Moon.
Yeah.
Because I want to show singers and piano players that we can do some of these tunes we can do with several different feels, and it all works. Yeah?
Uh-huh.
So for instance, Fly Me to the Moon could be a beautiful ballad. Maybe let's try a rubato ballad first. You know what I mean? Right?
What key?
4 flats.
Oh, 4 flats.
Yeah.
So that's the ballad.
It's sure that we'll do a little, maybe not the whole song. Fly me to the moon and let me play among the stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. In other words, hold my hand. In other words, darling, kiss me. Now, can we take from there, do a bossa? Fill my heart with song and let me sing forevermore. You are all I worship and adore. In other words, please be true. In other words, swing, I love you. Oh, fly me to the moon and let me play among the stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. In other words, hold my hand. Have another idea? In other words,
3/4.
okay. Darling, kiss me. We're doing 3/4. Fill my heart with song and let me sing forevermore. Oh, you are all I long for, all I worship and adore. In other words, please be true. In other words, oh, I love you. Yeah, that was flat 7, major 7 to 1 or something.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
played, instead of playing the A flat major at the end, I played A flat suspended, A flat sus9 there.
It's pretty.
But that was kind of fun because we were just doing the, I don't think I ever played it in 3/4, but it actually kind of works.
Yeah, now we've discovered.
Now we discovered that. Heads up on that tune. What do you tell the piano player as far as doing an intro on that tune?
Well, it starts on the 2 or something, right?
It starts actually on the 6th chord. So if the song is in A flat,
I asked for the last 4 bars or something.
yeah,
That's all.
exactly. So the song is in A flat, and I'm going to start on an F minor chord. That makes the intro a little bit tricky. But what I tried to do, I heard more train wrecks on introductions and keys on that tune, and also on Autumn Leaves. Yeah. So what I do, I make sure if Michelle tells me that that tune is in A flat, I a lot of times ask, okay, is the tune in A flat, or are you talking about F minor? You know, do you want the first chord A flat or A flat minor? No, I want it in the key of A flat. That means that the first chord is an F minor. So that was a lot of rambling on the intro, but so I just try to set up that key as secure as I can. So when I do that, I do. And then I set up. And I, a lot of, 2-5 into F minor. And a lot of times I don't need to do it with Michelle, but with somebody else, I will even play that first melody notes. There's no confusion about what key we're playing it in.
Yeah. So we handled rubato ballad, bossa nova feel, then we went to swing, and we actually ended in a waltz.
Yeah.
So that's a song I feel that's very malleable, probably because it's been to the moon and everything, so it's very flexible. Yeah.
And you know, again, from piano accompanied with a vocalist, I guess I would say you're an alto. Or an alto range?
Yeah, when I sing my jazz standards, yeah.
Yeah. So I try to avoid, you know, I try to fill it out a little bit. So that means that I try to play the accompaniment, maybe not as much up here. It's a little bit less conflict if I stay down here on the piano. So I don't conflict too much with Michelle. And what I do, I listen to her. When she kind of takes a break, or she has like a whole note, or I know she, you know, not going to sing for a bar, that is the company's opportunity to do something. So really what we're orchestrators more than anything else. I look at it that in a perfect world, what I play for Michelle, I should be able to transcribe and just lift it and make a symphony orchestra arrangement on it, or a big band arrangement. If I can do that, I feel like I've done my job as a accompanist.
When do you choose to play up high?
Usually when I play up high, I do it for fills. So.
Let me play on the stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. And when you take solos.
Yeah, and when I take solos. So I took my chances there, you know, she was at the end of a phrase, and I did the fill. And that's, you know, if you do that, you're safe.
And so it's really important. I don't know how many master classes, you've probably heard this one at every master class, is how important it is to listen to each other and be very active in the musical moment. And I feel that's, you know, we do that. We both do that. It's very, very important. Without it, I don't know, it's void of so many things without this active listening and working off of each other, you know?
I think also, especially with piano and voice, that's got to be the most common duo. And you hear it everywhere, not right now, but hopefully soon. You will hear it everywhere. I've heard a lot of duos where this communication is not happening. Because sometimes it feels like, okay, just sing the song and have the piano play behind it with not much thought. But I'm looking for a much deeper experience.
How can you tell? Do you have any kind of quick example of how you know? I mean, it's pretty obvious, fairly certain. Some physical cues that I would notice in those moments where they're not communicating is there's not a lot of eye contact. This entire concert, masterclass, my body is towards the piano player. That's not always the case, But even when I'm on a gig like at Pilar's or wherever, when I do my intros and my outros, I kind of can open up to you a little bit.
Yeah.
But what else musically? How's it obvious?
Well, again, the listening, and the little preparation that we did, a 1-6-2-5 intro, and then you take half, and then I do this. That to me helps out so much that it becomes an arrangement. And if you have a little bit of arrangement that you're responsible for, then you really you don't want to screw that up, so you want to listen and make sure that we're on that. Now, if one of us forget or we decide in the middle to take the music in a different direction, that's wonderful. That's what we want to do. But having some kind of foundation, and I notice when people, it's really easy to notice when two musicians are not in tune with each other. I don't talk in tune as far as timbre, but I talk in tune like communication wise. Yeah. So that's, and like with everything else, if Michelle and we have a set of standards that we know, if I don't know it, or if it's different key or whatever, we maybe have lead sheets. But if we have kind of important gig where we featured, rehearsal and practice, that's preparation is important.
Yeah. That's probably all that we have prepared, and I just want to know, do we have any specific questions that we want to answer before we say goodbye?
Yeah, Per and Michelle, I have a thought about the preparation and conversation that can occur before the musical moment, particularly for a young player in high school or in college that is putting themselves out there. A lot of what we do, as you both know, with Clearwater Jazz Holiday, leading up to the big festival, we have all these experiences where we try to create a platform for a young player to play with more established musicians, whether it's a jam session or an open mic or something, and we encourage that because there's a lot of growth that can occur. So for a young player, it's intimidating. And what type of conversation can occur before they step up and talk? If it's a vocalist talking to a piano player, you're about to sit in on a song. We've talked about intro and ending and key and style. What is the safest way from a vocalist to approach that, and vice versa, Per, for you, if it's a pianist that's going to accompany a vocalist as a young player, what can they do?
Okay. And Michelle has heard this a million times, but if you're a vocalist, you're actually not a vocalist, you're an instrumentalist. The vocal, your voice happens to be your instrument. So, but I look at you as an instrumentalist, and when a saxophone or trumpet player comes up to jam sessions, they say, I want to do this tune, and I do it in this tempo, and I do it in this key. You know what? That's a wonderful beginning. If you're a vocalist, make sure you know what tune you're going to do. Make sure that you sing along with a record that your favorite singer sings that tune. Make sure you know what key and what tempo. If anybody gives me that, you know what, that's great. I'll take care of the rest. And so that is really important for a vocalist to have that knowledge. And I'm sure you agree with that.
Yeah, and I think that these handouts with the intros and the endings, oftentimes a younger piano player will ask me, what kind of intro do you want? Or even you would ask me, So it's important for you to, let's say make it your goal. You're going to know, even as a piano player too, right?
Yeah.
Know 4 stock intros, 4 stock endings, and I mean, that would solve a multitude of sins right there.
Yeah.
And then you talk about the solos, and you can decide it's going to be 1 chorus or 2 choruses, or you can keep your ears open and never lose track of the form.
Yeah. And absolutely. And if you're a pianist and you sit in and there's a vocalist, and then you can maybe say, well, okay, these are the tunes that I feel comfortable with. And if a vocalist gives you a tune and it said A train, and you have played A train you completely prepare to play A train, but you haven't done it in G flat, and now the vocalist asks in G flat, don't be afraid of saying, you know what, I'm not so comfortable with A train in G flat. But this is what you do. You go home and practice it in G flat. So the next time you know it in G flat. That's important. So I think
okay, in this moment, so what's the original key of A train?
C.
C?
Yeah.
So if the singer has practiced it in G flat, she wouldn't be my student, first of all, because I would know that's too difficult.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
But I would really hope that you as a piano player wouldn't say C or nothing. I would hope that G flat, you would go at least maybe down to F or up to G, so that we don't have to sing, right? You know what I'm saying? So hopefully you can be close.
Yeah.
You know?
And you know, that's the thing, for that is kind of our job as piano players, just you know this. My comment was kind of maybe for, say, high school student that's sitting in a professional jam session. But if you're a piano player, your job is to be able to play A train in a perfect world in all 12 keys.
Yeah.
You're most likely not going to play it in G flat, but you will, if you work with a singer, you should play it in E flat, you should play it in F or G or whatever, because those are the common keys that the singer would sing them in. And that's a whole nother thing. And by the way, that could be a whole nother masterclass, transposition on piano, right there. I guess that'd be my 4th masterclass right there. And I can show you some tricks how you do that and how you think about that, because as a young player, it can be pretty intimidating, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Steve, this seems like a
good question, Steve.
Thank you very much. No, this has been a really fun session. It's great having you both together in the same place. It's amazing, and I'm definitely going to get with you paired so we can get your idea up on the schedule. And so for those of you that are watching or listening to this in the future, thank you so much for supporting Clearwater Jazz Holiday Foundation and being part of this growing treasure. I will remind everyone, after these live sessions, the recorded sessions live on. They live on in video form in the studio, and they live in audio form on the Young Lions Jazz Master Virtual Sessions podcast. The studio is brought to you by our friends at Blue Water Wealth Management at Steward Partners, and the podcast is brought to you by our friends at Marine Max Clearwater. So, Per and Michelle, thank you so much for being part of this. Everybody stay safe out there, stay well, and keep playing. We'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.